BTL, coming at you. Good Tuesday, everybody. Welcome once again to BTL Bass Talk Live, where we're going to talk bass fishing and anything else that you want to talk about. Yes, it is one of my favorite times, the Sunline Hotline show today. Flying solo this week, and we're going to take some phone calls, folks, and we're going to talk about whatever you want to talk about, be it fishing, be it hockey, be it bowling, be it whatever. We're going to talk about it today, and hey, I'm in a much, much better mood. I'm feeling a little bit better. I'm going to give some stuff away to some of the callers that make this show possible today, and we're going to have some fun with this. So the phone number right there on the screen if you're watching on YouTube, give us a call. The phone number is 405-253-5543. And I'm already getting phone calls. So we're going to get to this here very, very quickly. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and answer a call right now and leave them on hold. So if you're listening, just stand by, and I will get to you just in one moment. I want to make sure everybody knows tomorrow, a special day. We're going to have Billy Egan on, the man that makes things happen for One Bass. Very, very exciting time next week in Las Vegas with the U.S. Open taking place. $250,000. I wish it was $250,000, but 250 anglers, $100,000 first place, along with the boat, along with all kinds of other stuff going to be given away next week in Vegas. And we are very, very excited to be our 8th season. I think it's our 8th year to cover the event live and take part in being a part of the live coverage of the One Bass U.S. Open. So let's do this. I've got to take care of a couple of things here, and let's go ahead and go to the phones. Hey, who is this?
Hi, this is Mike from North Carolina.
Hey, Mike, how you doing, man? Thanks for calling in.
Thanks. Great to be on the show. I'd like to make a couple of points about MLF BPT, if I might.
Sure.
Well, a couple of things that I've noticed in viewing some of the postings on different boards and listening to Boyd Duckett's interviews on your show. The claim has been made that we're trying to make fishing like other sports, like basketball and football and golf and things like that. And hence the score tracker and these different modifications to the format. And I kind of think that fishing is great because it's not like other sports. It is special. It is the sport that an 18-year-old can win a tournament at, a 75-year-old can win a tournament. I can't go on the field at Foxborough after the Patriots play and throw the ball around. I can't drive my car at Talladega. I can't even get on the course at Augusta. But after the pros get done at the Potomac River, I can go to that playing field and I can try my hand. And for the price of an NFL ticket, I can go sit in a boat with the players for 3 days. And I don't think that that's been emphasized enough or highlighted enough. And I think that in trying to compete with other sports that are already well established with large followings and trying to play their game, I think we're missing the boat. And I think the evidence of that is here we're trying to make fishing into a sport like those other sports, but where was BPT on the air this weekend? It wasn't at a time when people are going to be up watching sports. It was only at a time where those hardcore fans are going to either watch it or DVR it. We're not getting the casual viewer at 6 or 7 o'clock a.m. in the morning.
Mike, you make just a tremendous amount of great points, and I agree with the assessment that you're saying that you can go out on Lake Guntersville the week after a Bassmaster Classic and see what kind of game that you can play based upon the conditions that the guys have and so many other factors. And the comparison with the price of an NFL game ticket that you're going to pay to spend 3 days with a guy is a massive comparison where I think you're dead on. Now, hear me out on this. For so many years, for 50 years, the people in this business have been trying to capture that person that is involved in the game, right? And it has evolved over the last 50 years to where it's just a continuing recycle of the same fan, the same viewer, with now the addition of the high school and the college anglers that they didn't have 15, 20, 25 years ago. That is where the growth inside the industry has come from. And I don't know how many years you've listened to this show, but I've made this comparison a number of times about this industry is like a swimming pool and everybody else out there is like the ocean. And where the growth really is, it's in that ocean. If the guys out there that are involved in really wanting to grow this game, that is where the growth is going to have to take place. But I agree with you 100% that putting a show on the Discovery Channel at 6 or 7 a.m. and hoping that people DVR it is not really going to expand that establishment in the ocean. You're 100% right, man.
Yeah, and I agree with what you said. So to your point, I would say then probably what the industry needs to be doing and the leagues need to be doing to grow the sport is to put more emphasis and focus on growing it in high school and in college. And I'm a tournament fisherman myself. I'm also the coach of a high school bass team. I talk to a lot of other hardcore bass fans and tournament fishermen and kind of got a sense of things. And, I think that growth has to happen amongst those young people. I just don't see it happening with the casual viewer at odd times on these cable networks that a lot of people may not have. One additional point, if I might make it.
Sure.
Okay. On the format, I don't have a problem with them going to every fish counts format or having no bag limits. Going away from the 5-fish limit. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. But I went back through the results of the BPT tournament's final days this year, and in every single one of them, except for one, I think, the person that ended up winning simply had the most fish. The size of the fish didn't matter. They'll list on the results, what their biggest fish was. But It seems to be completely irrelevant. All you have to do is catch the most fish. And what ends up happening is these guys who find a school end up blowing it out. I mean, I can't remember more than one or two tournaments where it was worth watching past the second quarter. With just the fact that the format lends to who's got that big school, they pretty much have the only chance that day, it seems like. And, they want to call it the purest form of fishing. But to me, if we want to really be pure about it, let's not let the pros see the score tracker. Let's not let them know even what anybody else is catching, because even if the identities were kept secret, you still know whether people are catching them or not. Instead of having to rely on your own instincts and your own observations, that score tracker tells you whether you need to keep on grinding it out or whether you need to change. And to me, that's not the purest form of fishing anymore. That's every bit as much of an informational advantage as talking to your buddies back at the house is.
Well said. Well said. And we've had that discussion. It's been brought up numerous times on this show that the name should not be on Score Tracker. They can be for the fans to see, but there's no need for the anglers that are competing to know who has what. What the important thing is knowing that, hey, I'm down 12 and a half pounds or whatever.
Right. And to me, I don't even want them to know they're down 12 and a half pounds. Every other tournament format we fish, we don't know what other people have unless we see them catch a fish.
Yeah.
So you pretty much have to rely on your own abilities and observations in order to make the right moves. With Score Tracker, even if you don't know the anglers, even if the identity's kept secret, just knowing you're 12 and a half pounds down or 15 pounds down or 3 pounds down gives you a big clue about what your next move should be.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with that simply because when you look at other individual sports, you know what the tendencies are in golf. Yes, you know what the leaderboard. It's on every hole that you go to during a tournament. You know who's in the lead. But with fishing, there's so much strategy and so much technique involved that it's really unique when it comes to knowing what other guys are doing. You are basing an assumption on what is happening based upon the names that are on that leaderboard. And the other thing is if you see those guys on a particular part of the lake and you know that they're in the top 4, top 3, whatever it is, and you saw those guys, you got a pretty doggone good idea what they were doing.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
I agree with that. I really, really like the idea of the guys still knowing what position they're in, but not knowing who's in that position. But I respect your thoughts on that.
Thanks, Mark. It was great to be on the show today.
All right, man. Hey, one thing I want to ask you real quick, and I have mentioned this numerous times. Do you think that it would be more appealing to people outside of the fishing realm if it did relate to a team style format rather than an individual style format?
I really think it could. The other thing that I think, if you want to add drama to this thing, you really want to create a reality show out of it, put 2 pros in the same boat, make them weigh each other's fish, and make them each take 4 hours at the front like they used to in the invitationals.
Oh, yeah.
That would be TV worth watching.
Yeah, there were some great stories that came from that. Mark Davis has a zillion of those stories when they used to have to draw for guys and some of the battles that took place. Who got the first half of the day, who got the second half of the day. Yeah, dead on. Hey, man, great call. Appreciate you calling in, Mike. Really good stuff.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, man, take care. All right. Great way to start the show. Let's do this. Let me get this queued up, see if this works. Hey, who is this?
Good morning, Mark. My name's Joe. How you doing this morning?
Joe, I'm doing fantastic. Where are you calling from, man?
Tennessee.
All right. What's on your mind this morning?
I would like to see the major 3, when they go and do a major tournament at one of the lakes, that they help with a restocking program. They bring a lot of pressure on the fish. They do the best they can to make sure all the fish survive. But then with the publicity it gets and the on-air time, we have other anglers and everybody wants to go out there and fish. And it seems like some of our bigger lakes, and I'm going to say Kentucky Lake, we've got a huge problem there. It used to be a big lake that the big 2 used to come to, and now our population's way down for many reasons. But I'd like to see them give back a little bit.
I can say this. I know Bass does a tremendous job from a conservation standpoint. We've had Gene Gilliland on this show numerous times, who is the conservation director. I do remember back when it was the Federation, and Matt gives me all kinds of grief because I still call it the Federation. But 10, 15 years ago, a lot of the local state federations actually got involved in restocking programs. when big tournaments would come through, when there were lakes in their areas that did get a lot of pressure. They were heavily involved. I know Oklahoma was, because I was part of it, involved in specific restocking programs to take care of the water. So I think that has happened. I know for a fact it's happened in the past. I don't know exactly what they're doing currently from a restocking standpoint, but that's definitely something that we could get with Gene with and find out if any of that is going on. Obviously, we've had Mark Menendez on this show numerous times to discuss the situation that's taken place at Kentucky Lake. There are many, many more issues than just restocking bass in Kentucky Lake.
I agree. But I just, you see some of these lakes and, how they get ranked, top 10 in the nation. And it's like, well, everybody's going to want to go there. Well, it appears that those lakes, they just didn't get there by themselves. There was human intervention. And it'd be good to see, bass and FLW and MLF and, even, they're having the high school and college kids come in. So, help them, get educated on, a resource and, let them release some fish or, teach people, not just go out there and release, hey, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it.
Hey, somebody in Alabama can help me out on this. Mark Outdoors has an event, and I don't know if they still do this. It was a number of years ago that I actually participated in that with Randy Howe, and they actually do a fingerling stocking as part of the event. So in other words, when you went out before you started, you actually released these fingerlings before the tournament actually began, and it was massive. I mean, there was like 500-600 teams in this event that I was in a number of years ago. So I don't know if they're still doing that, but I know that there are events across the country where restocking is definitely an integral part of them trying to take care of the resources. All right, man?
Okay. Thank you, sir. You're doing a great job.
All right, appreciate it. All right. Good stuff. Yeah, that Mark Outdoors event was insane. So many boats. It was an unbelievable amount of boats. All right, let's do this. Let's go to our next call. Who is this? Hey, you're on, man. Who is this? Hello? You there, man? Are you there? It sounds like somebody's on the water. They're doing an awful lot of moving around there. You there, man? Hello? Okay, I tried on that one. Whoever that was, call back. All right, let's go to this one. Hey, who is this?
This is Hunter Kenway from Pike County, Georgia.
Hunter, how are you, man? How are things in Georgia?
I'm good, man. It's hot as heck.
Yeah, it's kind of unusual for October, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. We're supposed to get some cooler weather here now. Help out with some of our local derbies we got going on.
All right. What's on your mind today, man?
Well, I actually got two questions for you.
Okay.
Real quick. First one's going to be a little challenging for you, but I want to know your honest opinion. Do you think that the, Bass Pro Tour, how long do you think it'll last? Like, I know they got like a 3-year kind of deal they're supposed to go with. But how long do you think it'll last after that?
I'm going to answer it by saying this. This is a simple answer because it's all based upon revenue. If they continue to have revenue coming in, they're going to be fine, and it's going to continue to grow, and it's going to be, something that's going to be around for a long, long time. If the sponsors decide that this is not where they want to put their funding, and they do not have companies get involved with Major League Fishing that is outside of the industry, then it's going to be a short period for Major League Fishing. Here's why. They are spending a tremendous amount of money. And in order to get in order to get the paybacks that they want, no entry fees, pay for all that overhead to do what they're doing from a live standpoint, to be able to pay for the network time on CBS. Bottom line is the lifeblood of Major League Fishing is their revenue streams. And as long as the money's there and as long as they continue to grow the amount of revenue that they have coming in from companies that are outside of the industry, they're going to be fine.
Oh, yeah. I agree. I mean, my honest opinion, I don't know if they'll last as long as, the FLW or a Bassmaster, but I think you could probably see them in maybe another 5 years.
The interesting thing, let me ask you this. As a fan, and I'm assuming you're an angler.
Oh, yes, very serious.
All right. How would you feel if suddenly in the year 2021, Major League Fishing decides to go to a 5-fish format? Now has the game changed, and the way that people look and the way that sponsors look at Major League Fishing changes because instead of doing the every fish counts, they actually go to a 5-fish limit? What are your thoughts on that?
If they went to a 5-fish limit, I've asked myself this question before, it would be really tough. I really like MLF. I want to like it, is what I'm saying. I'm not crazy about the format. I'm so used to the 5-fish format. It's what I grew up on. It's what I'm a huge Bassmaster fan. And that would be really tough. I mean, it's the new thing, I guess. It's really hard to pick between Bass and MLF, but if they went to the 5-fish that format, I probably would I would watch it a lot more, and I'd probably be a much bigger fan of it. And I actually would try to go be in it, to be honest with you.
And I hear that a lot, man, from a lot of people that I've spoken to across the country. They have the same feelings and the same opinions that you just voiced. Now, let me ask you this: under the current format, do you fish any events that have the MLF BPT style of every fish counts, weigh and release?
I have actually, one of my high school tournaments did. And I don't know if it was the lake we were fishing or what, but it was tough. And I don't like it because you're not really targeting big fish. I'm a big fish guy. I like going catching 5 big ones, and that was not what it was about.
Yeah. And I
it
mean,
was just really a numbers game.
That's how the game is played. Seriously.
Yeah.
I want anybody out there to tell me different, but numbers count. And typically the guy that has the most fish is the one that wins, not the guy that has the most 5-pounders or 6-pounders or whatever. So
exactly, and we only did it once. It was a little experiment thing, and it was just the guy who came in. I think someone caught like 30-something fish that day, and they ended up winning. And I know one guy I didn't catch maybe 15, so I didn't have a chance. But it's just something that I'm not interested in really. And I'll be honest, if it came down to where there was only MLF and that was the only format we had, it'd probably break my heart a little bit, but I probably wouldn't fish tournaments if they were like that, to be honest with you.
Wow.
I mean, it's just not, it's not my cup of tea, I'll say that.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate the call. Chasing the bluebacks at all around there?
The lake, I fish a West Point a lot.
Oh, okay.
Really tough lake, I think Elite Series went there. I don't remember what year they were there, but they were there twice, and it's a tough lake.
Yeah.
But I fished a lot of Middle Georgia, Lake Lanier, and stuff like that.
Okay. All right, man. Well, try and keep cool there in the heat wave in October.
We're supposed to it's supposed to cool down here in a couple of weeks. We got a big tournament, championship club tournament coming up, and it's supposed to cool down here in 2 weeks, so it shouldn't be too bad.
All right, man. Thanks for calling. Appreciate it.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, see ya. All right, so we have North Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia. Quite the mix. Let's see who our next caller is. Hey, you're on. Who is this?
This is Trevor Graham from Chautauqua Lake, New York.
New York. Trevor, is that right? I couldn't hear you, man.
Yeah, Trevor.
Trevor, how are you, man? What's on your mind today?
I just want to talk about lake selection and the Bassmaster schedule and whatnot. I was thinking about how they changed the size on the Elite Series this year and how that might have changed where they go and whatnot. They seem to be going back to a lot of the same places, but you would think if they were to continue with the same size, they'd be able to go to some of these more hidden gems around the country.
Well, and I don't know how many times that you've listened to this show over the past 5 years, but the site selection, and we just had Eric Lopez on, who was in charge of the site selection for bass.
I saw the show.
Yeah, and
I just think that I understand what goes into it and all that about the economics and how people pay for it, but it's getting a little bit almost boring, I would think. Like, oh, hey, they're going back to St. Lawrence River, and I live here. I love it. I live near it. I love it. It's a great place. But I can predict kind of, it's going to be Ned rigs, drop shots. We're going to see some similar things going on. It'd be neat to go to a more like they haven't been to some of the smaller rivers down in for example, they haven't been down in like Ohio in a while. They haven't gone out of like Erie in Ohio.
Yeah, no, it's a great point, but money drives, a lot of what areas that they go to based upon how much economic impact is going to be put forth by the Chamber of Commerce, by the commissions that are centered in that area. And the other thing, too, is I've been pretty vocal. There's a couple of lakes across the country that I wish they would go to. I wish they would go back to Lake of the Ozarks, where Matt is this week. I wish they would go back to Old Hickory, just outside of Nashville. That was one of my favorite events that I attended when I was out there on the Elite Series, the one that Kevin Worth won. And very, very challenging, but a diverse, very, very difficult type of grind that had all kinds of aspects to it. I think sometimes the fans get tired of the trails going to the same place over and over. This might be something that Major League Fishing could actually have an advantage in being able to go to very, very diversified bodies of water that are smaller if the communities are willing to pay. Unfortunately, and that's the bottom line, man.
Yeah, and that's actually something that I come from. As I think it was 6 or 7 years ago, Major League Fishing came here to Chautauqua, and we were able to hold them because of the fact that they don't require 15, 20 hotels for all the people coming in and all that. Just being a smaller area, we have Buffalo north of us, but we don't really have the ability to hold, like a Bassmaster Classic, or I don't even know if we're able to hold an Elite Series. I'm not an economic, I don't know our population perfect, but we were able to have a Major League Fishing event a few years back, and it was pretty neat to see the start of that. But now with the 75 guys on the Elite Series, I'm like going, oh, okay, well, maybe we would see them here. But that's just coming from a personal standpoint. It would also be, like I said, neat to see them go out of Cleveland. That would be a great place to hold an Elite Series event. Or I also agree with you with some of those old school spots that they haven't been to in a while.
Yeah. We'll see, man. We will see what happens, and who knows? We may only have 2 major tours next year. Who knows? Hopefully here in the next 2 or 3 weeks we'll find out.
Yes, for sure.
All right. Thanks for calling, man.
Nice talking to you today.
All right, man. Take care.
Have a good one. Bye.
All right, by the way, the name Woo Daves. Anybody remember that name? That was the last time that the Classic was held on, and I think the only time the Classic was held on one of the Great Lakes, and it was an absolute disaster from an attendance standpoint. But there were some other factors involved. They tried doing ICAST in conjunction, and just it was a mess. All right, let's go to the phones. Who is this?
Hey, this is BTL.
Hey, who is this?
Hey, this is Chris calling from Tennessee.
Chris, how are you, man? What's on your mind?
Hey, Jeffries, I got to tell you, man, you guys, I hope, and I think everybody who listens hopes, that you all are making a small fortune doing this, dude, because y'all do such a great job. Y'all have the best source of info, the best connections with the pros. I just thank you all for what you do, man. It's a great show, and I love it. I listen to every one of them.
Well, that is a very, very kind comment. And it takes two people, man. I really miss not having Matt here when I'm trying to do stuff on my own. It's really, really hard. But I think part of the reason why this show has become what it is because of the way that Matt and I work together, the way that we've been involved in this game for so many years. And we greatly appreciate all the fans out there and the number of people that continue to listen and watch BTL. But bottom line is, hey, what makes this show is the fans. It's the fans. And I'm so fortunate to be able to get some of the pros that we have on this show based upon relationships, because if it wasn't for the fans and the guys that are out there trying to make a living doing this game, this show wouldn't exist. So we are very grateful to the fans and to the anglers. Yes, sponsors help. They pay the bills. It is extremely expensive to be able to do some of the stuff that we do. So, we don't push them. It's not a hard sell or anything like that, but we do respect the fact that hopefully the fans out there recognize the companies that have been involved with us forever, and that the fact that those fans will support those companies that have been involved with us, because that is how the financial support comes from being able to do this show. So a lot of thanks, man. Greatly appreciate it. What else is on your mind?
Well, I wanted to kind of keep it in the topic. We've been going back and forth about the different series, and I really thought that I would really like the Bass Pro Tour, but I think in keeping with what everybody else said this morning, it surprised me that I didn't like it as much as I did, and I kept going back to Bass. And I thought the Elite Series was just so compelling from start to finish this year, all the way down to the last day. It was great fishing. And, I hate live wells. I love the MLF format, but the every dink counts. I found it really boring. And I wanted to ask kind of an open-ended question towards MLF. Who wants, the whole thing is we're growing the sport. Who asked for the sport to be grown? I think it's the manufacturers in the sport, but from those of us out on the lakes, I don't know anybody that said, boy, I sure would like to see more boats out on the lake today. Well, that parking lot's not nearly full enough.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark. Have a good rest of your day, man.
All right, man. Appreciate it. All right, man. We have a lot of people in Tennessee that listen. That's pretty cool. I love that trip to Knoxville. That was quite the trip. Very, very impressive place, and the campus there was just unbelievable. Not as good as Cornell. If anybody listened to that show, my visit to Cornell when I was on vacation in New York, that place was unreal. Yes, I'm an OU grad. I'm telling you, that was the most beautiful college campus I have ever seen in my entire life. Cornell University in New York. Unbelievable. All right, let's go to the phones. Hey, you're on. Who is this?
This is Matt from Indiana.
Matt, what's on your mind today, man?
Well, I just had a couple questions for you here. A previous caller, you said you asked them how they'd feel about MLF if they went to the 5-fish format.
Yeah.
Do you think that's possible with the way they came out bashing that format, that they would kind of tuck their tail between their legs and go that route?
Man, that is a very, very tough question. I don't know. I know that there are people that are involved that have a lot of influence on some of the things that take place over there, and they have been adamant about that will never, ever, 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 ever happen. But at the same time, there's been things happen not only in the fishing world, but other other activities and other sports that they said would never happen, and things end up happening. So me personally, I don't think I've ever really said this. I think that it would be nice to have a mixture of both. And I think that would satisfy. I think that would satisfy people from a fan perspective. I think it would satisfy a lot of the sponsors that are involved. I think it would satisfy from a TV perspective that you got a good mix. I mean, why not have every single club in the bag that you can use, even if you're only limited to 15 or whatever the number is? Why not go ahead and throw out some events that are 5-fish events? Still have the same format, but you know what, guys? This time when you go out, you're going to go out and you're going to try and catch your best 5 over 4 days and see what happens. I think it would go over immensely. I think the fans would embrace that, and I think it would be a home run, but who knows if it's ever going to happen.
Yeah, I think it'd be a lot better that way. I just think that style gets old. I mean, it seems like no matter what lake they go on, it's almost the same thing every time.
Yeah.
And then my next question is, if they do buy FLW, how do you think they would run the BFLs? Would that be a 5-fish limit still, or do you think they would go to their format?
That's the $1 million question. And I can't see an organization, a tournament organization that has events with 150 anglers where they would have to have an official in all 150 of those boats. Maybe there is a way that they're going to be able to utilize technology. You know, I know that is being worked on. They might be able to somehow, some way take a picture of the fish as it's weighed in the scale, and then it automatically gets uploaded. But then, once again, what did they go to this year on the BPT? They started having all the officials do what? Manually record the weights.
Right.
Remember that? So you have that possibility that technology might fail, and then what do? You know, do we get into a situation where if you're one of those 150 anglers on the BFL version of whatever Major League Fishing is going to be, do you make every entry bring a caddy or bring an official? Then you make sure that everybody's matched up and that the official that they bring would be matched up with another competitor, and it all evens out. You make it a requirement that, okay, if you're going to fish in this tournament, you have to bring an official of which will be in another competitor's boat. I don't know. That is a logistical nightmare, in my opinion.
Yeah, they have hard enough time getting enough co-anglers, let alone fit officials.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you'd almost think they have to stick with the same format if it's a true feeder system, because you can't fish 5-fish tournament, and then if the one person who does make it to the MLF Pro Tour, then you're now changing your style. That's what got you there. I mean, I know these guys did it this year, but that's a little bit different, but because everybody was in the same boat. But,
yeah. Hey, Jason Christie seemed to adapt to it okay.
Yeah, a few of them did. There's still a few struggling. Yeah, I don't know. I just think I got a bad taste in my mouth with the MLF, because I believe it was the first show where you guys had Boyd Duckett on, and he preached how there's enough out there for all 3 tours. They just want to make the industry better and more out there. Well, it didn't take long before they looked like they were going after both other tours to try to make them the only one.
Well, let me say this. And let me say this, and I'm not sticking up for anybody, but when you're in business and you want to expand your brand, you have 2 options. You either do it on your own or you buy somebody out. And when you go to buy somebody out, what do? Typically, you go to buy the best. You don't buy, somebody that might be underneath. You go out and you try and buy the best that's going to expand your brand. And I don't think that there's any organization out there, be it minor or major, that would fit into the plan of expanding the brand and creating the feeder system than FLW. I mean, yeah, there's some smaller organizations out there, but quite honestly, that is the best one. That if you're going to expand your brand and start your feeder system with something that is well established, well recognized, and fits right into what they're trying to do, then that's what you do. So can you blame them for doing that? No, because they have to get a feeder system in place. I don't think whether you like or dislike Major League Fishing, I think everybody out there would agree that if this thing is going to continue to be successful, you have to have a feeder system. Agree?
Yeah, I think didn't Boyd say they have to have one per their contract before 2020?
I'm not sure on that. I'm
pretty sure that last time you guys had him on, I'm pretty sure he said they have to make a move soon because they have to have one in by 2020 per their contract, and if that means making their own or getting MLS or the BFL system, then that's obviously the fastest way to go because it's already in place. So
I mean, believe me, they are going to spend a lot of money on that purchase if it does happen, but they're going to have to spend a lot of money even if the purchase does not go through with trying to form and go through a tremendous amount of headaches and logistical nightmares trying to do it on their own. So, like I said, man, I truly believe within the next 2-3 weeks we're going to find out something.
Well, I'm looking forward to it because I'm a BFL angler, and I'll be honest with you, I don't want to go to that format. I want to kind of keep it how it is. And
yeah.
So, well, I appreciate the time, and I love the show.
All right, thanks, Matt. Thanks for calling.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
All right, we are rolling right along. Let me get to the next call here. Calls have been really good so far. All right, you're on BTL. Who is this?
This is Daniel from Tennessee.
Daniel, how are you, man? What's on your mind today?
Well, I was first off, I enjoy y'all fishing and the new MLS series. Just something else for me to watch, but something I would like to see them do. I know with the Red Crest and their big events, but like their championship rounds, it would be nice to see them up that 1 pound limit to a 2 pound limit or a 3 pound limit. Something that would force them to get off of a shaky head or something like that, and let them still allow them to go out and throw a deep diving crankbait on schooling fish or a big worm or a big jig. Something like that, and to mix it up, and the 5 fish deal, like they do at the Texas Fest or the big bass splashes, would be cool too. But I drive a truck, so I enjoy your show. It gives me something to listen to and keep up with something other than politics.
Yeah, we don't talk politics on this show. So
yeah, that's a good thing, and that's very few shows that you can find nowadays. They keep that out of it, so it's very enjoyable. And like I said, I drive a truck all over the country, so it gives me something to listen to and go home and practice some of the things I hear. All right. On my home lake. And I live right on the Cumberland River, so Old Hickory Lake, Percy Creek, Cinder Hill, all those lakes are my home lakes. And I would love to see a classic come back to Old Hickory because I was just a little kid.
Oh, he went away. Oh, he's back now. You're back.
Yeah, I'm in southern Mississippi, so my service has been in and out.
All right. All right, man.
But yeah, that was my 2 cents.
All right. I appreciate you listening, and be safe on the roads across the U.S., man.
Yes, sir. Will do.
All right. Take care. All right. We have a lot of people that download the podcast and listen to it while they're traveling. That's good stuff. All right. Let's go back to the phones. Hey, who is this?
Hello, sir. I'm James from Arizona. How you doing?
James, doing well, man. How is things in Arizona?
Well, this morning it was 66 degrees when I took my dog to walk to the lake. But other than that, it's beautiful. It's like 90 degrees every day. But it's nice, cool at night, and warm in the afternoon. So it's still T-shirts and shorts.
Nice. So what's on your mind today, man?
Yes, sir. I recently received an email from FLW. I renew my membership every year with them, and I've given a questionnaire on and relating to all three classes of fishing and stuff. It was a questionnaire about MLF and would I follow this and sponsorships and stuff like that. And I filled it out and I sent it in and stuff. And then I realized hearing your show every day and the days it comes on and I feel like there's going to be a transition soon. But my thing is, a lot of people in the sport say we want to grow the sport and we want to be like NASCAR. Well, NASCAR is going downhill, and I'm originally from the southeastern part of the country, and I don't see that every fish count game makes a lot of sense when being a lifetime member of Bass. I'm kind of impartial to that aspect, but I do think FLW is awesome because I'm a member every year. My thing is this: if I'm Bass, okay, I know I beat around. If I'm Bass, do I extend an olive branch out to one Bass and make the U.S. Open, which is probably the third largest tournament of the year? Do I extend like the winner should get an open invitation to the Bassmaster Classic? Because that would only make sense.
That's not a bad idea, but let me get your opinion on this. And this is something that Matt and I have discussed numerous times while we have been in Las Vegas at the U.S. Open, and even prior to going, Dave Rush and I have had this conversation. I am a huge proponent that there needs to be a presence, an Elite Series Bass presence on the West Coast. And I know it's expensive to run a separate Western Opens. It's been tried. It's been done. They have lost money, but they have tried to do it on their own rather than trying to partner with, I'm just going to say it, with the entity, One Bass, and say, you know what? Here, we're going to contract this out to you. We're going to run a Western Open. You guys are going to do everything. It's going to be branded as BASS, as the Western Opens, but there will be some co-branding there with One Bass, and develop a relationship with One Bass to where you now have a presence of which now you could generate that connection to not require the West Coast angler to move half across the country if they really want to become a true professional in this game. And you build this working relationship to where, yes, now one of the greatest events in this game, the U.S. Open, could actually be co-branded and partnered with BASS. Hey, it solves a lot of issues. It also creates a lot of problems at the same time. But I think when you look at the road ahead, it would create more positive than negative by giving that presence in the West with the BASS brand, lower their expenses, and really increase the opportunity for guys out on the West Coast that really don't have it. And now you create this relationship that tries to build up, one of the greatest events in this game in the U.S. Open. What are your thoughts on that?
Mark, they should have done that before they closed the doors of Bassmaster Western Series or Western Elites or Western Open.
Yeah,
they should have. They should have extended the olive branch a long time ago because there's a lot of great anglers out here.
I agree.
live here, and it's you have a couple like Matt Serra, Johnny Johnson,
yeah.
And you have, they're just Arizona, but the California anglers, they're phenomenal. They fish hard, they fish long, and they're solid anglers, and that's not taking nothing. But I just see, I see that the sport is staying centralized and not growing as everyone. Let's grow the sport, and it's all about money. Let's be honest. I worked for a Fortune 500 company. And granted, They are. I used to before I started my own company. But they are a official truck of one of the major sponsors for one organization. Just to let you know that. And as I was saying, being in the business world, it's all about money. And I don't think, how can I say this? I don't think it would be right to grow the sport unless you just extend that olive branch to one bass. I mean, you got to, because if you see all these bass cats and skeeters and all these boats going to the lake, they're driving Toyotas. I mean, I see Johnny Johnson. He's sponsored by Hatch Toyota in Shoalo, Arizona. But not just that. Everybody, they bass fishermen are loyal. They are loyal to brands. They are very loyal. Like if this is the official truck, they'll go buy a Toyota Tundra. I know. I've seen them, and I just feel like they should make the U.S. Open more prestigious, and bass should just get off their high horse and just extend that olive branch to one bass. And they should have done it 10 years ago. And they should just call up the phone and say, "Hey, Billy, we'd like to let's get a partnership and let's get a contract going. And you know what? We just, you use one bass, but you know what? Make sure all your anglers have a lifetime member of bass so they can meet all the qualifications. So guess what? The winner of the U.S. Open, we're going to extend that olive branch and give them an opportunity to win a spot at the Bassmaster Classic."
Yeah.
Because not only will it would just help the sport, because those anglers are not. I'm serious. There's a lot of great anglers out here, and you don't get to see them. And it's not all just swim baits and stuff like that. I mean, you got Clifford perch and stuff like that, and but there's a lot of good ones that you don't get to see. And it just, we do have the Wild West Bass Trail, and we have One Bass, and One Bass is awesome. I'm a member of that too. But it just, I feel like bass should extend the olive branch to the U.S. Open. It's one of the most prestigious tournaments out there, and it's so awesome because if you could fish the Arizona Open and the California Open and the U.S. Open, and I think bass, the Elite Series, if you win an Elite Series tournament, you should automatically get a spot at the Bassmaster Classic. All right, if you win, you should automatically get a berth. That's one thing. And also, I don't think I know I shouldn't jump off this little train I'm on, but I feel like they should be a little more bass should they should make it more stricter, because I've had an issue ever since. How can I say this? If you're a professional angler and you're responsible for your boat, I think you're responsible for your boat and your catch in that boat. Unless the boat's going down, I can understand. But guess what? You shouldn't be able to take your catch out of your boat, put it into another boat, and go to the weigh-in. Nope. You started with that boat. You're going to finish with that boat, and that's how it is. I don't feel like you should, have, we're going to help you get your catch back. No. You took a boat that was broken down. Because I remember you said to Matt, y'all had a disagreement, how some anglers, they kind of lucked into some wins.
Yeah.
I feel like if you leave the dock knowing your boat's not 100%, that's your fault. You should, you got a time limit. You got to get out and get back at the same time as everybody else. It's not everybody around you to help you out. Now, if you want to get towed in, that's fine, but you're still on the clock. Because I feel like history would have been different, and it would have been better for bass to see somebody else win than to see somebody other than that did win. Because because back in the day, I just feel like it'd been better for the sport if you have more stricter rules on the anglers.
All right.
Because I just that's how I feel, and I do think bass does need to reach out to one bass.
All right.
ASAP.
All right, man, that's some good stuff. Hey, by the way, James, real quick, by the way, the greatest population in America is where? The largest population in America. No, it's not Arizona. It's on the West Coast. All right? And if they say they want to spread this thing to people outside of the fishing game, well, there's your market right there on the West Coast. So, hey, I'm always sticking up. I'm sticking up for the West Coast guys, man.
Well, me too, sir.
All right.
You have a good day.
All right, take care.
Thanks, sir. Bye.
All right, see you. All right, there you have it, James. Very opinionated on that. All right, let's go to our next call. Hey, who is this? You're on BTL, man.
Hey, this is Chris. I'm from Eastern Arkansas.
Chris, how are you, man?
Good. I'm a BFL angler, and I'm on the other side of the fence. I'm ready to go to the every fish counts format.
Tell us why.
I don't know. I think it's better for the future of fishing. You know, to me, you don't have, you know, the mortality rate. You know, it would help with that. It's, you know, it's hard to keep 5 fish alive all day long. I'm pretty good at it.
Do you think so? You fish BFLs right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How many times have you know? Let's say over the past 5 years, have you had to weigh in a dead fish because fish care was not up to par?
I've had to weigh in once I know of.
So
but
not,
I've had my
not that many times.
I've had co-anglers let them die.
Yeah, not that many times, though. You would say maybe 99, 98% effective over the last 5 years, maybe even higher than that?
Well, FLW claims that, you know, 99.7% of them live.
Yeah. No, I totally understand where you're coming from that standpoint. Yes, that is a very valid discussion on fish mortality, but I think that all the organizations across the U.S., for the most part, have done a pretty doggone good job at taking care of the resource to be able to bring tournaments back to the bodies of water that they're going to without having to worry about, you know, fish kills. Now, obviously, have there been fish kills across the U.S.? Yes. Yes, there has. But changes have been made in the tournament formats by not having tournaments when the water temp's over a certain degree mark, by not having any tournaments in the month of July in certain areas of the country. Most of those fish kills have taken place during the summertime. Very rarely will you have any type of disaster like that take place when you have what I would deem and what a lot of people would deem normal fishing conditions. So, yes, I understand that. The second question I want to ask you is, have you fished a Major League Fishing style format over the past year and a half?
No.
All right.
No.
But you still feel comfortable if this thing takes place and they go to a Major League Fishing format, and you would be looking forward to that format even though you've never really experienced it?
Yeah, I think I'm more cut out for the every fish counts.
All right. Are you let's see, what do they call it? Docks, rocks. What is it? Docks, rocks, and bridges. Is that what you like to fish?
No, I fish a little bit of everything, and I like to fish a lot of shallow water.
But you like the numbers.
I fish a lot of drop shot.
All right.
Yeah, I like the numbers game.
Like the numbers game. Hey, that's good, and that's what that game is about. And for people that can get their game dialed in on the numbers game, they're going to thrive in that format if that format does happen at the BFL level.
Yeah.
All right, Chris?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Thanks
for calling. I appreciate you having me on. You all have
right.
a great show.
All right, man. Take care.
Yes, sir.
All right. There you have it, Chris in Arkansas. And, yeah, that's some good thoughts. Hey, if people out there want to catch numbers and they do go to that format, more power to you, because if that is the style of the way that your game excels, you're going to do quite well. All right, let's go back to the phones. Hey, you're on BTL. Who is this? There's nobody there. All right, let me press this button. Hey, you're on BTL. Who is this?
This is Austin from North Dakota.
Austin, how are you in North Dakota? Any snow yet?
Oh, it's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming.
All right, what's on your mind today, man?
No. So I want to talk to you a little bit about live. You know, all this live footage. You guys just recently brought yourselves onto the YouTube platform. I'm dumbfounded by the fact that nobody besides FLW really has, you know, put their live feed into YouTube like FLW. Bassmaster puts some of their older stuff up on there. I guess it's just a little frustrating, with live footage. It's always MLF has got their app, which seems to be decent. You don't have to refresh all the time. But the Bassmaster website, how horrible it is. I mean, you got to refresh if you pull off the page for 1 second or whatever and go back. You got to refresh the whole thing, watch the Lowrance Live Insight commercial and the Yamaha Skeeter commercial. I guess I just don't understand where all these companies don't see a benefit of feeding their live feed onto YouTube. It's just seems much more simple. Is there more to it than just just putting it on YouTube, or is it money-making deal where Bassmaster has their website and they get more, the views, and MLF's got their app, but FLW is streaming on right to YouTube.
Yeah, a couple of things, Austin, and yes, it is very difficult to do no matter what platform you're using. It is extremely challenging, especially trying to do it on a location where all the connectivity happens through a 4G signal, be it, 4 different carriers. I will say this. I believe, and I don't know this for a fact, I do not have confirmation, but what I do know is a fact is that sometimes so many of these contracts with sponsors are driven with not being able to have any other source where the live feed can be viewed. In other words, there's like exclusivity to where they want to get all the eyeballs they can to one specific place. All right, rather than having it in what I kind of coined the term simul streaming, where it appears on the Bassmaster website or the Major League Fishing website and also on YouTube. That's what we do. We simul stream. All right, if you want the instant feedback and you want to be able to watch it on the website, boom, you go to the website. If you want to watch it on YouTube, you can watch it on YouTube at the same time. The other thing is there might be also some copyright violations due to the terms and conditions that YouTube has. And I believe I said 3 or 4 years ago that what they ought to do is create a relationship with YouTube of which they could probably save some money in their streaming fees and actually coordinate a relationship with YouTube to where not only would it appear on YouTube, you have so many cable companies and satellite companies now that actually have YouTube as a channel option on their cable provider list, or the Dish or DirecTV or whoever it is, to where you could actually watch it in a non-mobile device, non-PC device, an actual flat screen television device, and you wouldn't have to mess with anything else. So that's something I think that they should explore, not just Bass, not just FLW or Major League Fishing. I think all 3 of them should explore that. And once again, there's a way to expand the brand outside because we all know that there's people out there that watch YouTube more than they watch television that obviously don't fish. So there's your opportunity to expand the brand and expand the game in an environment that other people are looking at besides the fishing world. So, I know sometimes people don't understand, but there are so many factors in live streaming that even if you get it dialed in as good as you can get it, something can always go wrong. All right, man? I hope that's a good explanation.
Absolutely. That's perfect.
All right. Well, stay warm in North Dakota, man.
Oh, I'll try.
All right.
Coming tomorrow.
All right, man. Thanks for calling.
Thank you. Yep.
All right. Man, what a good show. The calls just keep coming in. We're going to have to cut it off here. I'm going to take 2 more calls, and then I'm going to choose somebody from the call list that I have right here, and I'm going to give something away. So let's go back to the phones. I'm going to take a couple more phone calls, and then we will wrap things up today. All right, you're on BTL. Who is this?
Greg from Ohio.
Greg, how are you, man? What's on your mind?
I'm pretty good. I'm just sitting here watching your show. Love the show.
Thanks.
Can we change subject?
Sure. Whatever you want to talk about, man.
I want to know, how's your bowling going?
It is going okay, and I'm gonna dip my toes in the waters here in a couple weeks, and there's a regional event that is going to take place in Waxahachie, Texas, and we'll see how that goes. So I feel good. I kind of had a setback last week with the whole ER thing, and today is going to be the first day that I actually practice in over almost a week and a half. But man, I feel good. The body feels good. The back's doing a ton better, and I got great people helping me out, and I'm feeling pretty confident going into the first one. But it is the first one in 19 years, so we'll have to wait and see.
Well, I wish you luck.
Thanks. Now,
and then
let me say this real quick. With you being from Ohio, you know what I thought you were going to ask me? I thought you were going to ask me about Mr. Nick Bosa and what he did last night to Baker Mayfield in the Monday night game, recreating the whole sticking the flag in the field bit, and just threw it back in Baker Mayfield's face. So,
to be honest with you, didn't even watch it.
Okay.
But if you want to talk Ohio and fishing, now I love Major League Fishing, but when they talk about growing the sport, if they come to Ohio, there's not enough room on some of these small lakes for any more people to fish.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I got a good friend in Maine. I tell him, in Ohio, there's 10,000 fishermen for 10 lakes, and in Maine, there's 10 fishermen for 10,000 lakes.
Yeah.
It's just so packed here. And one more thing on the Major League Fishing, I love watching that. I watched the first Bassmaster Classic way back in the day. Love watching all three of them. But there's no weigh-in.
Yeah.
I look forward to that with all the other ones. And, right up to the very last minute, who's winning, and it's kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah. A lot of drama.
And, I like seeing all that, but it's like if they could figure out a way to build a little bit of drama, the last little bit of the streaming would make it, to me, a little bit better.
Yeah. No, I agree. And with the Elite Series, I've actually made the suggestion, and I don't know when they cut it off now, but I think you would create even more drama if you cut off Bass Track at noon on the final day.
Yeah.
Just cut it off. That way nobody knows. And you got to watch the weigh-in, or you got to be at the weigh-in to find out who the winner's going to be.
Right.
So.
Exactly.
All right, man. Well, Greg, I appreciate you calling.
Right. Okay, thank you.
All right, yeah. Not a lot of big bodies of water in Ohio. Might be a difficult place to have an Elite Series event. Although they did have the All-American, I don't remember what year it was, on the Ohio River. I think it took like 8 pounds to win. I'm just kidding. All right. I don't want to hate mail on that one. All right, I want to take one more phone call, and then we're going to close it out. For the first time in over an hour, the phone lines are open, folks. So I am looking to take one more phone call, and then we will wrap things up. And then tomorrow, once again, Billy Egan, the man that makes things happen for One Bass and the U.S. Open. We're going to talk U.S. Open. And my favorite, I know this field is stacked. I didn't say who I thought was going to win, but my favorite angler to watch out there, Mr. Johnny Johnson. So we're going to see how the Arizona Pro does with this massive field that is lined up for next week in the desert for the 2019 version of the U.S. Open. All right, here we go. Final call of the day. Hey, who is this? You're on BTL.
Hey, buddy, this is Joe from Kentucky.
Joe, how are you, man? What's on your mind?
Well, I'll go ahead and I guess I'll kind of stay on the whole MLF, Bass Pro Tour, Bass, all that kind of craziness.
All right.
Seems to be the big topic all day. I'm curious what you think about this. I've got thoughts on it, but you got a lot of we call them the chest pounders. They're like,
I hate Bass Pro Tour. I hate MLF because they're only catching dinks, and I only catch the biggest 5 fish. That's what I go after. Yada, yada, yada. Do you think maybe some of the time it's a lot of people overestimating their abilities? Because I've been to a number of tournaments where I've seen a whole lot of people blank. I'm like, you caught 5 dinks. I mean, you went up there with a big bag of nothing.
Yeah.
Maybe if you try to catch 5 dinks, maybe that might have helped you out. I guess my.
Well, let me say this real quick, Joe, and this is something that I think I've told so many people that just don't like the format, that are anglers, not fans, okay, but anglers. I said, look, man, here's what you need to do. You need to go out and you need to fish a club event, a small jackpot or whatever in that format and see what it's like fishing that format before you have your 100% all-in judgment on whether or not that you'd like to fish in this format. I'm not talking about being a fan of it. I'm talking about actually performing and competing in an event, be it large or small, in the MLF format, and then based upon that, you can be a judge. Hey, I'll tell you right now, there have been times on Lake Tenkiller in April where we probably caught 60 fish, but they were all in the slot, and they were all, 1.5, 2 pounds. That meant absolutely nothing. So if that's the game, and that's the game that's being played, and the way the game is being played, okay, yeah, maybe you are dominant in that game, and maybe you've found your niche. But maybe some of the people need to go out and actually try it from an angling perspective before they say, I don't like it.
No, I totally agree. I also look at it like this: you can learn from about anything if you're willing to learn from it.
Yeah,
I think that's the part that aggravates me the most. They're like, no, I just hate it because of, I only fish for the 5 biggest fish. I mean, there's times you can learn from anything.
Yeah, but if that's what people want to do, if that's what you want to do, go out and try and catch the biggest 5 that you can, so be it. Get good at it. And if you're good at it, fish that format and don't mess around with going out and trying to catch 100.
Yep.
That's your choice.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Anyway, that was just kind of my thoughts on that, and I was just curious what your thoughts were on that.
Yeah,
so, I appreciate you having me on. And
give it a shot. People, give it a shot, and if you don't think that is something that's going to be suitable for your game, because I know that there's people out there. Do you not agree, Joe, that there's guys out there that would probably be good at catching 1 and 2 pounders?
Yes. Here's my thing is, I think a majority would be better at that, just from the weigh-ins and stuff that I've been to. I mean, that's your local club events. I'm definitely not categorizing everybody.
Yeah.
There are guys like your sidekick there who are gonna, they're damn near professional.
Yeah.
That are able to, but your local club guys, a lot of everybody, they're just going out fishing.
Yeah.
But it's those are to an extent kind of the ones that I hear they're like, no, I hate it because I go out and fish for the 5. I'm like, you really don't, because I've fished with you before. You're out there trying to catch fish. You're trying to put something in that bag to take up to the weigh-in. Okay, so kind of get over it, to a certain extent.
Hey, I don't know if you
learn from everything.
I don't know if you listened to the show yesterday where we had Bradley Hallman on, but the guy that won, Warren, on Grand Lake, his partner actually told Brad in line, he's like, man, I got to learn how to catch 14 inchers. He's in the bag line with 3 fish for 15 pounds, and he can't finish out his limit because all he does is hunt for the big ones. So,
yeah,
it is what it is, and some people like it, some people don't, but if you want to be successful, depending on the game that you're going to play, you better play the game the way the game is played, and that's the way that game is played. Go out and catch 100.
Yep. Agree 100%.
All right, man. Thanks for calling in.
You too. Thanks, bud.
All right, folks. I know we're over, but here's what I want to do. I cannot end on this number, okay? I cannot end on this number, so I need to have one more phone call. I am very superstitious. bowling, hockey, fishing, basketball, baseball. There are specific things that I do just because of this quirkiness of superstition. And I cannot end the show with 13 callers. I do not like the number 13. I get very leery when I have 13 pounds in a limit. So here, let's take one more phone call. All right, you're on BTL. Who is this?
Peter from Michigan.
Peter, what's on your mind, man?
All right, since this is your last call, I'll make it quick. Two things. I agree with, I think it was your first caller on the Marshall experience. I marshaled for 3 days at the AOI for bass on Lake St. Clair last week. But I want to know your thoughts on the way bass season ended up, being that there was so much stuff on the line, well, except for Rookie of the Year. But the tournament itself and then the Angler of the Year championship, how that played out.
I thought it was drama. I thought it was great. A lot of people don't like the fact that the AOY is determined on a smallmouth body of water. I myself, I kind of like it. I think it's challenging. I think it showcases a diverse skill throughout the entire season. It's one event that takes place on those big bodies of water, and I thought it was absolutely 100% cool. There was drama. I think what gets lost in the whole thing a little bit is the tournament that Seth Feider had. Oh my gosh, that was unreal what he did on that body of water. So, the trophy's not as big, but at the same time, the drama that's created in the Angler of the Year and also determining who's going to make the Bassmaster Classic, I think it was a cool venue to have that on. What were your thoughts?
Oh, I can't agree with you more. I didn't realize, as a marshal, I didn't realize there was so much on the line, not just for the AOI guys and the tournament itself, but yeah, there was guys that needed, to catch a fish, catch a decent weight just to get into the Classic. But then there was also guys that needed to catch good bags of fish because they were right at a break where if they finished 2 places higher, it could have potentially made, put another $6,000 in their pocket, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it was just a lot of different storylines all at once, but just the drama that entire tournament created, especially for Angler of the Year. And I agree with you completely because Seth lit it up all 3 days.
Yeah.
I don't see that type of drama with MLF.
Yeah, it was cool. All right, let me ask you this. Do you live in the Detroit area?
Yes, I do. I'm about 40 minutes from the launch at Lake St. Clair.
All right, I don't know if this happened or not, but this would have been cool. All right, for the game, for Seth Feider and Scott Canterbury. How cool would it have been if either one of those guys would have been on one of the local sports talk radio shows after their victory to talk about what went down on Lake St. Clair and maybe exposed what was going on in the city of Detroit that people may not have even been aware of?
Oh, no doubt it would have been a positive for the city itself. I mean, there's a radio station here, I think it's 97.1, that's pretty much a sports station. It's just it's talk radio.
Yeah.
And I thought that before, that when an event comes like that it somehow in some way it should be a part of their show.
I agree.
And it's for whatever reason it just wasn't. But I mean, there's a lot of people that listen to that, and because it's all sports talk. But no one can convince me that probably half of their listening audience fishes.
Yeah.
So it would have been a great opportunity, and I think it was missed, by the city, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, maybe that can happen, on down the road. But I think getting that opportunity to expose the game on sports talk radio and on the morning shows and some of the other things that take place is really going to define how this thing truly becomes a growth factor in the awareness by exposing it to the casual sports fans. So, by the way, man, I love Detroit. And there's areas in Detroit that I know you wouldn't want to walk down, but I'm telling you, there are some areas in Detroit, just unbelievable beauty, and some of the areas around Lake St. Clair are just magnificent. So love that area, man.
Yeah, it's a great area. It's not what the news media makes it appear. Whenever they talk about Detroit, a lot of times it's in a negative light. But and that could be with a lot of large cities. But there is a lot of good about the Detroit metro area.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. Thanks for calling in. Best of luck to you.
Thanks, man. You guys keep it up, man. You're doing a great job.
All right. Thanks, man. All right, folks. For those people that have listened to this show over the years, my background is that I'm a bean counter. I'm an accountant. Well, guess what? I can't count because you know what number call that was? That was number 13, which means what? I need one more phone call, folks. I thought I had 13, and Peter in Michigan was actually call number 13, so I need one more phone call, and then we will finally get out of here. I'm actually probably going to be late for my class today, but I cannot thank the fans enough. This has been a tremendous show. The feedback from everybody that has called in, even on the instant feedback. I love doing these shows. I'd really like to do one of these shows more than just once a month. And we'll take a look at that on down the road. And hopefully we can do more of these Sunline Hotline shows on down the road. All right, I promise. This is going to be the final call of the day. Let's go to the phones. Hey, you're on BTL. You are the final caller. Who do I have?
Charlie Hartley, Grove City, Ohio.
Oh, my gosh, Charlie Hartley. How are you, bud?
I'm great, Mark. I'm glad you're not dying.
That was quite scary last week, Charlie. When you go to the urgent care and the dude looks at you and he says, you need to get to the ER right now. Your gallbladder is going to explode. Yeah, it was quite testy there for a little while.
It would be terrible to not have you there at Bass Talk Live for just selfish reasons.
Yeah, Matt and I, we try to do well. I miss my little buddy to my right. But, man, what a great show today. Just a very, very
great show.
Very cool.
Major League Fishing and Bass Pro Tour are still the major topic of conversation, whether you hate it or love it. And the only other thing I wanted to wrap it up with was really wishing Matt good luck in his last Costa and looking forward to competing against him in the championship at Cumberland. It's going to be a joy to fish against Matt and see him.
Yeah. Now, give us a 10-second version of what you think Cumberland will be like, Charlie.
Tough.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too. Now, the big concern for Matthew this week is, have you looked at the weather forecast for Thursday and Friday in the Ozarks area?
No, I have not. Of course, I have not.
Massive cold front blowing through on on Friday. They're calling for winds out of the north between 20 and 30 with a wind chill in the 30s and a high in the low 40s.
Well, that lake's known for them to bite during that type of weather. Did he not already qualify at Grand? It looked like he finished 40th in the points, so he's already in.
He's already in. So now the objective is if things stay status quo, he has a real shot at making the FLW Tour. So we'll wait and see what happens with that whole situation. But, hey, he's just got to go out. He's had a tremendous amount of good performances on Lake of the Ozarks. He's done a lot of homework. And as long as some of the situations, he had some bad luck over the last couple of weeks, Charlie. Very un-Matthew luck.
Let me tell you about bad luck, Mark. Let me tell you about bad luck when it comes to tournament fishing.
Right.
I'm just kidding. It's wonderful to get to see someone live their dreams. That's the greatest thing about our sport. Very similar to when I was a kid, and everyone that's ever picked up a fishing rod, we all want to be in the Cup or the Bassmasters Classic. And thanks to this great country and this great sport, we all literally have that opportunity. I'm living proof.
Hey, any thoughts about fishing the U.S. Open? I know we've talked about this before, but...
Yes, it's on my bucket list. I almost did it this year, but I would definitely, I'm going to try to fit it in my schedule again next year. I do like yourself, have multiple professions, so I have to pick and choose, and that's a long road trip. But I have actually family out there in Vegas, and I fished Lake Mead before. I sent you guys in a photo years ago when I was a kid. I caught a big old bass out there, so it's definitely on my bucket list. I've won the Canadian Open, and
Well,
it would be awesome to. Yeah, wouldn't that be cool to be an international Open champion?
That would be very, very cool. Very cool. All right, Charlie.
All right.
Thanks.
End
Thanks
your
for
show on a lucky number, you superstitious old fart.
That's
and,
me.
You really good luck in your senior bowling tour.
Thanks, man. All right, I'll be in touch,
Thanks,
Charlie.
man.
All right, take care.
Bye, buddy.
All right, there you have it. Great way to end the show, Charlie Hartley. One of the best guys in this game when it comes to on and off the water. All right, let me get the music queued up here. And that's going to wrap up. Wow, what a great show. I got to thank everybody. All right, here's what I want to do. I want Mike from North Carolina, our very first caller. If you will just send me an email, mark@basszone.com, I will get you a prize pack. You started off the show, and the momentum just kept going. A great, great show, and I want to thank all 14 callers, including Charlie Hartley, for just a fantastic show. Tomorrow, 8:30 a.m., we talk One Bass U.S. Open, $100,000, a boat, dancing in the desert next week in Vegas. Somebody's going to be a rich, rich individual, but they're going to earn it. All right, Billy Egan tomorrow. Big thanks to Sunline for sponsoring this show, the Sunline Hotline. And folks, everybody out there, be safe. All right, that's it. I'm out of here.